Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and I just got into the PTU today for the very first time. Now, there's been a lot of changes worth talking about, but I really want to focus in on three main ones. That being the Cutlass changes, the Avenger changes, and the missile changes. Now, before we get into this, it's worth noting that the PTU has been less than stable for me. You know, I get that random lost connection to server message quite a bit, and I noticed that lag hitches a little bit more than it has been in the normal Arena Commander versions that we've had before. And now for some weird reason I've lost the ability, the option to even select to fly the Cutlass. So I've posted that in the bug reports. I've seen other people flying it though, so maybe it's just me, but I've reinitialized the hangar, I've deleted the user folder, done some other things, no dice. So I'm going to work on getting that issue fixed, and as soon as I do, I will get you more feedback on the Cutlass. But since I'm talking about the Cutlass, let's go ahead and just start with that. Now, the Cutlass Black that we currently have flyable has had some pretty significant changes to it. My personal favorite is that the speed has been increased to 180 meters per second. Now, that's far from the fastest ship in Arena Commander, but for the biggest ship in Arena Commander, it's a really big improvement, and it feels close to right. It feels about where it should be. Other ships can outrun you if they want to, but you're not going to be left in the dust anymore, so that feels like a good improvement. Now, the single biggest issue from before, at least in my mind, was the crazy thrusters and the sensitivity being way off. Now, that's been toned down dramatically, and the ship handles a lot better as a result. You know, and it's like not even close to how much better it is now. It's just way, way better. You know, it still gets a little bit squirrely when you add boost to rolls, but it's manageable, and more importantly, it's actually responsive. So, there are still some kind of strange things with it. You know, most notably when you accelerate from a slow speed, or if you're stopped, your pilot's head kind of tilts to the right. You know, kind of like it's almost a confused dog. You know, that look they kind of give you. Now, I would think that if this was G-forces, you would maybe have your head tilt back, or your character leans back or gets pushed into the seat, and there's some visual representation of that. But seeing the world diagonally for a few seconds is a very strange thing to me. Now, the ship still drifts some, but that's not as bad as what it was before either. It feels, I don't know, kind of floaty, I guess, but it's not a real issue and actually allows you to kind of pull some interesting maneuvers. Another nice change was the addition of the turreted weapons up top, and they are gimbaled with the nose gun, which is a nice perk. You know, they're two tri-barreled ballistic weapons. The name escapes me right now, but they kind of fire like in a burst mode, you know, rat-a-tat, rat-a-tat. Now, they don't feel like they do a ton of damage, but then again, I was having a hard time hitting stuff with some of the lag I was feeling anyway, so I could have just been missing a whole lot of shots. So I'm going to test this a lot more once I get the option to fly it again, because it is fun to fly. Either way, for a bigger and slower ship, it feels like this armament, the current setup, it feels a lot more appropriate, at least in Arena Commander right now. Now, the Avenger is actually a dream to fly, at least in my mind, and it was crazy before with having no mass or really little mass, its center of mass was misaligned, and other issues that made it accelerate and decelerate, especially strafing like a madman. Now, the Avenger flies tight, you know, it's controllable, and with the speed still sitting at 220, it's a hell of a lot of fun to fly. Now, one change that was made now is that you can only equip the Tiger Strike to the nose. Now, I can't imagine with the modularity that they've been preaching about lately that this is going to be a final decision, but it's something worth taking note of now. In combat, though, I've really enjoyed flying the Avenger, and it really holds its own against other maneuverable ships. And my only real beef with the Avenger at the moment is that you can barely see the radar dome because your helmet blocks half of it, and it sits so low. As a result, it kind of makes finding your targets and staying aware of you know, people on your 6 a little more challenging. And it's kind of a frustrating aspect, but all in all, I mean, you can still target using whatever you got your cycle targets with, and that helps some. Now, the missiles are much improved, and is hands down my favorite part about the PTU. One missile isn't going to kill you anymore, and if your shields are fully charged, you know, that's really what's happening. You know, the shields are absorbing more of that damage. Now, apparently they've increased the missile damage output, but that has to do with the shields actually making a bigger input and working the way they're supposed to. You know, in reality, because of that, it really actually works better to disable your opponent's shields before using them, though it doesn't really seem totally necessary. Now, a huge improvement has been in the effectiveness of countermeasures. Not only have they increased the total number that you can carry, but they actually work. And I haven't found them to be 100% effective, but they're a hell of a lot better than before. Missiles now also have these little triangles that you can see, so you can actually see them on your heads-up display. Supposedly they added indicators onto your radar too, but the positioning on the Avenger isn't great to see it, and I didn't notice it when I was flying the Cutlass. And with the helmet being in the way too on the Avenger, it just makes it hard to actually see, so I'll have to check that out later. Now, missiles also now apparently have limited fuel, so there's a range that they can travel before exploding, which in my mind is a very, very good thing. Now, one strange aspect of missiles is that you can lock a target from any distance that you can actually target them. Now, you can't fire the missiles until you get within range, but they're really actually ready to fire the second you are in range. Now, I'm not sure if that's an intentional change or not, but based on the lock indicator with the little line through it and the fact that it's kind of grayed out until you get within range, I think that's a planned change. Now, it's not really a super positive or a super negative thing, it's just a change worth noting. So overall, I'm very pleased with 1.01 on the PTU so far, and I feel the changes were great, but I really do need to get more playtime in, and I need to try and get a little bit more stability to really kind of form a solid opinion. So stay tuned as I play more. I'll bring you more opinions. If you have questions on any of this, let me know. Otherwise, have yourselves a great day, and I will talk to you all later. Take care.